Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. Jim Masters here in the host chair, reporting for duty. And so glad to have you here watching from all around the world, wherever you're watching from. It's really great to have you here. Thanks for all the love, the support, the interactivity for our entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series, where we are approaching almost 1,000 episodes. And that's just in 3.5 years, which is extraordinary. And for those watching for the first time, this plays off my professional work in television and radio. And it's been a blast. It's been a delight. It's been a joy to interact with all of you and our fabulous celebrity guests that we celebrate here on the Jim Masters Show. And we have somebody, a favorite of yours and of mine, making a return visit because he has lots to share and some new music and a lot of cool things he's going to talk about. None other than iconic actor and singer, the one and only Donny Most is here. And of course, many people know him from his television work, his film work, most notably, of course, Happy Days, yes, and the iconic 70s sitcom series on ABC. Everybody, grew up with that show, right? And of course, we've had Marion Ross on our show as a special guest. If you didn't see that episode, it's archived right here. And also Anson Williams was with us as well as a special guest. But Happy Days, classic, fabulous series. He played, of course, Ralph Malph, the iconic Ralph Malph. And but he's done so much more. I know, as you know, he's known for this iconic series. And every time you watch it in reruns or on DVD, it's always a blast. It's always a hoot. But did you know he was on Star Trek as well? Yes, he was on Star Trek. Again, he's a prolific actor. He's a beloved singer, as well as also producer and director extraordinaire and a new grandfather. Yes, he is a new grandfather as of just a few days ago, which is very exciting. He makes his home now in Colorado, which is beautiful. Of course, remember this? Quite recent with his buddy Anson Williams. These are just some of the other epic things he's been a part of as a prolific actor and director and more. And he just completed another film. We really can't say much about it at the moment, but he's very excited about it. And so look for that coming soon from Anson, or from Donny. And also, look at this. Isn't this a great shot? As I said, he's a terrific producer, director. And I was saying Anson because this was really terrific. And I got a chance to see it. If you didn't see it with Don and Anson, check that out. It was, a lot of people gave it a lot of great awards and recognition and accolades, and it was well deserved. But talking about Donny Most's extraordinary music career, he has a phenomenal voice. He puts on an extraordinary performance. Just take a look at some of these great shots. He is all in. He gets the audience fired up. They're all motivated. They're all passionate. And again, he belts it out like nobody else can. And here he is actually performing with Eugene Lando Murphy Jr., who was a guest on our show. You remember, of course. He was here, and he's a phenomenal artist as well. Now, look, it's on your screen. We're very excited about this. This is really, really cool. And this is the new music that we're talking about. This is New York High. It's a new single that is literally hot off the presses. We're going to talk about that. Donny is very excited about sharing it, and you're going to have an opportunity to get it. Plateau Music makes it available, and it's really cool, folks. So if you're a big Donny fan, not just of his television work and his film work, but of his singing, of his music, make sure you grab this. And we'll tell you how you can during the course of our show. But there's other music, too, that you might not be aware of that Don Most has had an opportunity to share with all of us, even Christmas. I mean, yeah, and he's just belting it out, and he absolutely is having the time of his life right now, as you can see evidenced in these wonderful photos that we sort of gathered here for our show. We just want to give you a little taste of what it's like to see him perform. And of course, remember this, not too long ago, too. This is a fantastic Western We're going to talk about this and so much more. And we dug this out. Look at that. There he is, Garry Marshall, rooting him on with Happy Days on the softball team. It's cool stuff, gang. Taking you down memory lane, but also celebrating this iconic American figure. Now, he's very humble. He's probably, in his house in Colorado saying, okay, that's good. I appreciate that, Jim. He's very humble. He's a great guy. He hails originally from New York. As you guys know, I do originally as well. I'm out on Long Island. That's where I hail from. He's from good old Brooklyn. And he's never lost his wit, his wisdom, his sense of humor. And he's just a great guy. If you'd like to comment and interact with our show while the show is on live, which it is right now, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can do it in the JMS Celebrity Hall chat room. We have a chat room that's open and available right now to our subscribers, which costs nothing to do. Say hello to one another, say hello to us, interact, and we welcome you from wherever you're watching around the world. Now, if you miss any of this or you want to see it again, it'll be archived on the YouTube channel as well. Without further ado, I have to welcome our very special guest joining us from not New York, not Chicago, not Nashville, not LA, beautiful Colorado. And here he is once again on our show, the incredible Don Most. Don, welcome to the Jim Masters Show, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim. Good to be with you. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. And it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here every time. And first, before anything else, the nuts and bolts of it all, congratulations. There's some wonderful, beautiful news that has happened in your family, and we're so happy for you. And I'm sure our viewers can see that glow that you've gotten. It's not just the nice lighting. There's a lot of happiness in your life right now. Congratulations. Tell us what has happened.
Yeah, well, that was the reason my wife and I moved to Colorado. Our daughter moved here 4 years ago or so, 3 years, and then she got married a year and a half ago. And we wanted to be closer, especially when we heard she was expecting her first child. So that definitely motivated us to make the move here. And as you alluded to, it just happened 5 days ago. Our daughter gave birth to a beautiful, healthy young Sienna June. And so it's quite exciting.
What a beautiful name, Sienna June.
Yeah.
Does any of the name have to do with any family members, history, or relatives, or did they just create that beautiful name?
Yeah, her and her husband, I think they were deliberating for quite some time over what they were going to call her, and we didn't know until after she was born. But I don't know if there's any connection to. I don't think with our daughter, and I think they were just exploring all kinds of possibilities. That's my. I'm pretty sure that's what it was about. Nothing family roots, but I'll find out and I'll let you know if I was wrong.
The phone will start ringing right after our conversation, I'm sure.
Right.
That is funny. So how do you like being in beautiful Colorado? I was on a TV shoot out in Colorado, and we were not too far from where you are. And we were also in beautiful Denver. And then we filmed over at Red Rocks, which is absolutely stunning over there. I don't know if you ever get over to Red Rocks at all, but it's beautiful over there.
I've heard a lot about it. I have to get over there. I have not been there yet, but I hear it's just it's fabulous venue and amazing scenic background, all of that.
You're in a great spot there too. And you're from New York originally, in the hustle and bustle of good old New York, and then have made life in LA and Hollywood for many years. What was it that got you to decide, let's come to Colorado and have, a little bit more space and maybe a little more calm in our lives? Yeah,
that to some degree, but really just wanting to be closer to our daughter and then our granddaughter. We were too far away and we weren't getting to see her enough. And we're at that point where, we're not getting younger and the days get fewer ahead, as we know. So it was time to get close. and I'm so glad we did. It is beautiful here, and we haven't even got to see some. There's so many incredible locations out here in Colorado, but we've been so busy just getting settled in. We haven't had a chance to go too far and do the sightseeing, but we're looking forward to that, and even maybe the winter. We haven't had much of that in California, so it'll be an interesting change.
You get to
Although,
see some snow, yeah, again,
yeah,
right?
but growing up in New York, as you know, we grew up with that, so it won't be too foreign for me. But it's been a while.
Do you get back to the East Coast at all? And do you still have any family on the East Coast in the New York area, relatives at all?
Yes, I do have some relatives that are still in the tri-state area. Um, I used to get back a lot. I couldn't stay away too long, but over the last, I guess, with COVID and all of what the pandemic, uh, we weren't traveling, so I haven't been back there too much. I was just in New Hampshire, but I'd like to get back to the city and see some. Still have some friends back there, and maybe do some music again, because I have performed in the past at clubs like 54 Below
Yes.
and the Cutting Room and the Iridium Jazz Club. So I'd love to get back and do that again. After I get settled, I'll start working on that.
Early on, of course, we know Happy Days and we know the television and film career, which is extraordinary. But what was it about music? When did you dip your feet into the musical world? Did you do it as a kid and then honed your skills? Did it come later for you? Tell us about
Hmm.
that.
Oh, thanks for that question. It's because the truth of the matter is music, the singing was my first love, as I like to say. Um, I was 13 years old, and because I wanted, I became a real fan of the Great American Songbook and all the jazz standards when I was pretty young. And so at 13, I started going to this class in Manhattan. I would take the subway from Brooklyn every Saturday to this school where we learned singing, dancing, acting, but it was mainly the singing at that time that I was really ambitious about. And as a result of being in that school, I got picked about a year later, a year and a half, to be part of a troupe of teenagers, 7 or 8 of us, 14 to 16 years old, and we performed during the summer in the Catskill Mountains,
Mhm.
all summer at all those hotels, the
Yeah.
nightclubs. And so we were doing like probably 4 shows a week because there were so many places to
Yeah.
perform.
The Borscht
So
Belt.
the Borscht Belt, yeah. So that's what I was. So I was singing. This was 5 years before Happy Days. 6 years. I switched gears about a year after that summer, or less, and I really switched my focus towards acting, and went to a different class, a workshop, and in Manhattan. And then because of that, I met a woman who became my manager. And then I started going out on auditions in New York and I did like 40 commercials in 4 years and some big national ones and a little bit of some small TV. But there wasn't a lot of TV and film being done back then in New York. Occasionally there'd be a movie here and there, but most of the television and film were in LA. So I decided after my junior year in college to go out for the summer to LA. And that's what I did. And then it became more than just the summer because I landed a few parts, guest starring roles on some shows, Emergency, Police Story, Room 222.
Yeah.
And then my agent said, hey, you should take 6 months off of school because you got some real momentum and you could always go back. So I did that. I immediately said, that's what I'm going to do. And then I got another part right away and then nothing for like several months. And I thought, oh, I made a mistake. But then the audition for Happy Days came along and I went through several auditions and a screen test. And so that's how that part of the story went.
When you called back home and you told everybody back home in Brooklyn and the tri-state area, guess what? I'm going to be on TV.
Right.
And there's a new series, Jerry Paris, Garry Marshall, these epic people who have had decades of experience in the industry are putting this series together, which of course became an iconic, beloved series. What was the reaction back home?
Well, when I first got the part, all we knew is that we were going to shoot a pilot. And as you know, many pilots are made, and a very small percentage of those make it to the air.
Right.
So there was no guarantee. So what I first got, of course, I called and told my parents and my sister and some of my close cousins, but I didn't go tooting it all over the place because I didn't know what was going to happen. But I knew it was a good opportunity. So but then we knew that we were going on the air, and I started letting everybody know. Of course they were excited, but it's such a blur to me when I look back at it. You remember certain key things, but it became a whirlwind because it was like my life changed in a dramatic way, and I often say it was almost like I was now in the Twilight Zone because it was such a different world. It was completely turned not upside down, but into a different dimension. So
that's right.
Yeah, really, it was wild. I was 20, and it was exciting. And like you said, I was so excited to be able to work with Jerry Paris, who I was a big fan of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and I'd seen Jerry in movies as an actor like Marty and the Wild Ones and several others. So and then Garry Marshall, of course, I was excited about working with him. And the funny thing with working with Ron was that when I was a kid, when I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, people thought that people would come up to me. We looked a lot alike, Ron and I would even have people come up to me and think that I was him and that it want my autograph, and so people sometimes called me Opie, So growing up with that, and then now years later, here I am working with him on a show was really kind of surreal. So I was excited, of course, to work with Ron, and I knew of Tom Bosley by reputation, and then I got to know Marion and Henry and Anson, and it was an incredible grouping of great casting. The chemistry and the relationships that we formed were just you couldn't have asked for it any better than that, and we were a family. It became on a professional level and a personal level, we were family.
Why do you think it worked so well? What was it about it you think that, like you said, the casting was spot on, and so many shows of that time, you mentioned the Dick Van Dyke Show and others, where the casting is extraordinarily perfect, amazing. And the test of a true actor or actress is to make it seem so real that all of us feel like we're a part of your family, you're a part of our family, and that the roles that you're playing are real, that you're real people in these roles, and that these people, these characters exist. You don't even think of the fact that the person is acting it. You feel like you're a part of it. What do you think is the lasting staying power of that series, where people look back, these decades later, still with fond affection for that particular series?
I think there's several factors. One of the things, at the time, it was a show about the 50s in the 70s. Now, in the 70s, we were coming through a lot of social turmoil with Vietnam War, civil rights, and there was a lot going on. And this was sort of an escape back to the simpler time. And, it was a little obviously romanticized, but it was a simpler time, and people would use it as an escape. And I think that helped to some degree in the beginning. But then if you're going to hold them, it's got to be more than that. And our show, in addition to, we had great writing. Garry Marshall headed up all the writing staff, and the brilliant director Jerry, who's a comedic genius as well. And then, as we talked about, you have to give the producers a lot of credit for casting it the way they did, because we clicked on so many levels, and I think that's going to have this. That will give you the staying power. It's that chemistry between the actors who are playing these roles, and it's a combination of their talent and their personalities. And in this case, there was great talent there that in the beginning, I don't think we were taken that seriously. They probably looked at it as a piece of fluff and a bunch of teenagers goofing off and all that. But it was much more than that. And because you look at Henry Winkler, who was nothing like the Fonz. He was nothing like it. I mean, this is a guy that went to the Yale Drama School for his master's, right. And he created this incredible character. I was not anything like Ralph. When I was that age, I was quiet and shy, and I was a good audience for some friends who thought they were comedians. But I was not. But I was not that guy, And Tom Bosley, who had won the Tony on Broadway for Fiorello, and Ron, who had been in the business since he was like 3.5. Yeah. And Marion and Anson and Aaron, really talented, and it was a bunch of people that took the job seriously. We had fun, but we worked hard at it, and we really respected each other, and that's what made it all come together. All of those elements.
Do you have a favorite episode? Is there one or two that for you personally are your favorites?
The one that always comes to my mind is it was in the third season, because in the first year, my character was on the periphery. He was a guy that came in for some wisecracks and there's some comic relief. Maybe 2 scenes in an episode, but then it started growing, and it became a little bit more. I became more one of the guys as opposed to a sidekick. And then in the second season, I had a lot more to do, but in the third season, it was one of the first episodes of that year. There was an episode that revolved around Ralph, and it was the first time that had happened. And I got into that part. I prepared for that episode because it was the first one about where I was central, and so that one comes to mind. It was called Motorcycle, was the name of that episode. And it was the one where somebody had totally demolished Fonzie's motorcycle. And he was out to get the guy who did it. And it turns out that I had accidentally, when I was parking or something, I bumped into it, and then I panicked, and then I went in reverse instead of forward, and then I, totally crunched it into pieces. And so now I knew if I was in big trouble, and I was like, I was going to leave town. I was going to head west, running away. And it was, people who've seen it remember it, and I don't need to get into the plot too much, but that was one of my favorites. And there were so many other great episodes, but that one stands out for me.
That's a terrific one. Yeah. And again, beloved. And I know we did a tribute, and we had Tracy Reiner on, Penny Marshall's daughter, and some other fabulous folks who worked with Cindy Williams. And of course, you had the opportunity to work with Cindy. And since you and I had chatted, the beloved Cindy Williams had passed. Any quick memories of her? I had the opportunity to chat with her many times in person. I was actually introduced to her by a dear friend, Dan Goggin, who's been on our show, but I knew him way before we started this series. And he created the Nonsense Broadway series. And
Right.
she was in it at that time.
Mhm.
And he had introduced me to her. And then we were all, we stayed in contact, but we did a wonderful tribute to her on this series. Any memories of the iconic Cindy?
Boy, it's I get so sad. Still can't believe that she's gone. Um, I really, I loved Cindy. Uh, I had the great pleasure of working with her over up until, it was like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. We did a play together called Middletown, and we did it in a lot of different theaters in different cities around the country, and it was a great experience because we got up until then. I knew Cindy obviously from when she did Happy Days, and then they spun her and Penny off into Laverne and Shirley, and I'd see her at different events here and there, and we were always very friendly with each other. But then when I got to do the play with her and spend a lot of time off stage as well, traveling and having dinners and all of that, and we really created a really nice relationship developed, and she was just so great to work with. She was so giving and generous and warm and funny. So I have very fond, wonderful memories of during that time. And again, I was just devastated when I heard the news about her.
I know everybody. She was really for anybody who had met her or anybody that wonders. And I always try to tell folks when I have an opportunity to come across people will always ask, are they like what we see on TV? Are they like what we see in the movies or on stage? And when you have an opportunity to say yes and then some, Cindy Williams really, exceeded what you saw on television and on stage and in film. She was so warm and witty and funny and very affable. She was a very loving person.
Absolutely. Those great, very accurate description of Cindy. Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really miss her already. Miss her so much.
She's extraordinary. So after, of course, Happy Days, then these other opportunities sort of come your way. Was there any slow period in between, or did things start to really cook for you right after?
Well, I made the decision after the seventh season of Happy Days, which ran 11 years. But after the seventh season, I thought it was time to move on. Playing that same character for that long. And as I said, I was really not like that character. And I knew the danger of getting so associated with it and getting typecast, especially back in those days when there was only 3 networks and 50 million people watching you. Today, that typecasting kind of phenomenon, whatever you want to call it, is not as prevalent because there's so much content out there and other choices, so that you don't, you're not zeroing in on just a limited amount of people. So I knew it was going to be tough, and it was, especially because I told my agent I don't want to do any television for a while, at least not series work. I wanted to try to do film and theater, and back then it was to go from a sitcom and television to film was very difficult. Not a lot of people made that transition, and but I was 28 and kind of stubborn and went for it. But it was like hitting a brick wall. I went 6 months. I couldn't even get an audition for a film, and I had a big agent. So it was a bit of a rude awakening, and it was tough. But then I did a bunch of theater in different parts of the country, and just to keep working, and then I told my agent after a while, okay, let's look at some television opportunities, and then I started doing some other roles, and people started to see different things because, you know, I did an episode of Chips where I played a metal rock and roll guy.
That's right.
And then I did a show called The Crow, where I played a psychiatrist, and, you know, so I slowly started to show myself in different types of characters, and then it started opening up more and more, and did some independent films and playing very different roles, you know, and then was able to get a Star Trek Voyager two-parter where I played the villain in the piece, and
How'd you
then
like that?
yeah, that was it was a blast.
That was cool. You were great in that.
It was so much fun. And then I did a recurring role on Glee, playing the father to Emma, and so I started pecking away, but there were some tough periods in between, and now in the last 4 years, I'd say, I've been busier and doing more film work than I had in the last 15 years, and I think it's because now I'm getting to an age where there's enough distance from the show where more types of roles have opened up to me. And in this one, it was a Western I did, which is obviously a very different kind of role for me. And I played in, I can't mention the names because of the actor strike going on. Yeah, there you see me looking a little bit different.
Very cool. Yes, he's in charge.
Yeah. So, and then I did a film where I played a local pastor, and then I went to playing a polygamist, from a pastor to a polygamist, and then a career criminal.
So you're doing things alphabetically, the P's?
Right. It kind of went that way.
Yeah.
But you know, and then the owner of a minor league hockey team, and then a prison guard, and then a king. So I'm loving the variety of roles that I've been getting to play, and I have several other projects that I'm hoping to get going as well, maybe to direct. So a lot of, and I just finished. I mentioned to you earlier, a part in a film where, based on a true story in the 1920s, I played the head of a Jewish mob, and a very different role, very intense. So. It's really great that you know, there were some tough times, but you hang in there. Perseverance is the key, and if you're passionate about it and just love what you're doing and have some belief and faith, things can happen.
Spot on. That's great advice for those who are watching who might be considering going in these types of industries, whether it is music or it is television or film or something digital online. Just keep going at it, right? If you believe in yourself and you have a support system of people, whether it's family, friends, colleagues, who also believe in you, and they lift you up during the times when it's not so good and the phone doesn't ring, or you know, there's a no that came your way. To have that system of people around you, it's very important, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you didn't have that, then it's almost impossible, I think. Luckily, I did have that, and some mentors, you know, and really good friends and family that helped me, you know, gave me that support, and it's sort of a baseline of, you know, I don't even know what the word is, but without
foundation.
Foundation. Thank you.
It's that bedrock. Yeah.
Very, very, very important.
It really is. The directing too, something else that you're doing, and you're very serious about it. Do you enjoy that part of it behind the scenes?
Oh yeah, I love doing it. I've done 3 films. Before that, I started off trying my hand at it by doing some theater, directing some theater pieces, and then I was lucky enough to get some projects off the ground. This was while I was shooting a movie called Mula, which was a comedy drama with some great people, a great cast. The late Treat Williams, who was another.
Oh yes,
that is so sad to see go.
Yeah.
Daniel Baldwin was in it, and Curtis Armstrong, and Charlotte Ross, a lot of wonderful, Doug Hutchison, and the one before that was a film called The Last Best Sunday, which was a pretty dramatic film with Angela Bettis and Douglas Spain, who were great in it. And I did a family film that was really sweet called Harley's Hill. And now hopefully I have a few wonderful projects that have been developing, and I'm hoping I can get them off the ground. That's the tough part. Making the films is easy compared to getting them financed and greenlit or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yeah, the back room stuff. Right, exactly. Getting the funding and putting that all together. The ideas are there. Do you like writing too? And have you had the idea of authoring books? Is there an autobiography, memoir in the offing? I know a million people probably have asked you that and waiting for that from you.
Yeah, a few have been asked about that, and I think at some point I would like to do that, but I just felt it was premature right now. I just
Still doing it.
Yeah, and there's a lot more to do, and so we'll see. I enjoyed working on developing the story and the screenplays on the films, because on the first one, the first one it was mainly the Karen Kelly who wrote the script, but I did work with her a little bit, but that was mainly her script. On Moolah, I developed the story very much with the exec producer, and then sitting down with the writer, 5 days a week for weeks, working on it with him. And so I enjoyed that. For me to sit down and write a script by myself, I don't think I could do it. But working with somebody else, I really enjoyed that process. So we'll see. Hopefully there's going to be more in that realm, and many more acting roles as well.
And music too.
Music,
Again, yeah, you're getting a kick out of this, aren't you? I mean, you're really on fire. You work the crowd. They love you. Very spirited. If somebody hasn't heard your music or had an opportunity to attend a concert when you have them, what is that vibe like? How do you define it as the artist who's presenting it? What are you hoping people get out of it?
Well, when you asked that question, I hearken back to when I first knew that I really wanted to do it. And it was when I was 9 years old, and I saw the movie The Jolson Story, the biopic about the great Al Jolson starring Larry Parks. And that movie just had such a profound impact on me. I was 9 years old and was watching it on $1 Million Movie. Back then, if you remember, Channel 9.
WOR.
And they would show it twice a night, 5 days a week, the whole week, and four times Saturday and 4 times Sunday. I think I missed the first night, so I think I watched it 12 times because I was so, it just impacted me. The talent of Jolson, because it was Jolson singing, the story, the music, and I knew this is what I wanted to do that. So then I became, I don't know whether it was because of that or something inside of me, I became sort of like a real ham when I got on stage. It was like I was channeling Jolson or something, and I just loved, where I was shy in life, I'd get on stage with that music, and it was it was like I was a different person. And I just loved being on stage and singing for people. I at a very young age. So, and then because I did it in those nightclubs at such a young age, and listening to that music and getting an education on it, it really got in my blood. It's really just really deep in there. So that when I'm getting a chance to do it at this stage and work with some great musicians and wonderful arrangers, it's just such a high for me. I just it's big a high as almost anything. For that I joked about it at one time on stage. I said it's about like the greatest feeling. I said, well, maybe the second greatest, but that's
uh,
how
mashed
it
potatoes
is.
being the first.
Exactly.
That's
but yeah, so it's just such a joy, and it's like getting on a wave, and you just let it take you.
what a great way to describe that too. Yeah, and you're on a wave, and it just takes you, and it sweeps up. The wave sweeps up the audience too, because they
Yeah,
love
yeah,
seeing you do your thing and to be so happy and in your sweet spot as you share it with your audience. And again, we were showing earlier, there's other material out there that you've done, and of course, congratulations on this one. This is really exciting. And there it is, New York
yeah.
High. Tell us about this.
Yeah, well, I did a CD, an album about 5 years ago called Mostly Swinging, with
That's
a
right.
big band and all great standards, and loved it, and it came out really well. But then I made a decision after I met this producer, Tony Mantor,
Tony,
who's
yeah, he
based.
was a guest on our show. Yeah.
Yes, and Tony's, as you know, is based in Nashville.
Nashville.
And we got introduced, and Tony saw some of the stuff I've done and listened to it, and he said, I'd really love to work with you, and I think we could do something good, really good. And he said, but I think we should do this one a little differently, do it with a little more of a contemporary jazz setting, not the big band. So it was more like just a quintet, and maybe solos by the guitar or solos by the saxophone player or trumpet, and I said, yeah, I'd love to try to do. Let's explore that, and we did, and we were very meticulous about picking out the songs, and then Tony, it was great to watch him work with his musicians and his guitar player arranger. It was a very organic process, and then I would get to sing with the band, but then come back and do, the sort of the real vocals, so to speak. And it just it came out better than I even expected, and the response that I've been getting to it has been fabulous. And then we decided one of the songs that we picked late in the process was the song called New York High, and then we even named the CD New York High, and it's the CD is out now. People could get it on iTunes, or they could listen to it on Spotify and Apple and all of those platforms. But you could download it on iTunes. But we just released a single, not here yet, but over in the UK, which is New York High. It came out really great. It's sort of like another anthem to New York, as New York, New York, the song that Sinatra made famous. It's kind of along those lines. But you hear it and you go, you feel like I must have heard this somewhere, but it's an original, and it's really a great song. So I'm excited about seeing how that does, and then we'll release it to radio here soon as well. But you could actually, like I said,
You can get it now.
you can
Yeah.
get the whole CD right
There
now.
you are, Empire State Building. It's a great cover. I love the idea of the cover too.
That was I came up with that idea, and we had fun
It's terrific.
putting it together. I'm on a New York High.
You are in a New York High. So was this something you had always wanted to do? Did you want to do something that sort of pays homage back to where you grew up, where it all began, celebrating the city, where you came from?
It's not something that I had been,
Purposely
mulling about.
thinking about, right?
That wasn't anything I was really mulling about, contemplating, or planning. But when I heard the song, a friend of mine introduced me to the guy who wrote it, who's actually a Brit. He's a very well known DJ in the UK. His name is Mike Reed. You know, famous, kind of like the Casey Kasem over there, and he wrote this song, and I was like, so this is written by a Brit, you know, about New York, but it was great, and because I am from New York, I related to it, and I felt like, well, I have the right to sing this, you know, I have the right to do this song, and I'm so glad that we decided to record it. It means a lot to me right now.
Absolutely, and congratulations.
Thank
Couple
you.
people asking questions. Jen's Washington, Pennsylvania. Do you play any instruments?
I played a little piano, you know, when I grew up. I took lessons for a while, but I never got into it in a big way. But I enjoyed, you know, for the time, and then I got to make believe I was playing on Happy Days, but I didn't really. But so that was the extent of my, instrument, playing an instrument.
Kind of like the little kids on the Partridge Family, not really singing, but we thought that they were.
but I did really sing on, and Anson, of course, was really singing, and we did that part.
You guys are like, brothers in a way.
Yeah.
And do you stay in touch with some of the others that you've had an opportunity to work with over the years through Happy Days and other wonderful productions? Yeah.
Well, yes, definitely. Well, Anson and I are best friends, and talk all the time, see each other a lot, but I stay in touch with Ron and Henry. I just emailed with Ron the other day, and Henry as well. So, you know, we're still really, really good friends. And there's been other people that I've worked with in other productions that I've kept in touch with. Absolutely.
Somebody also asked, I think maybe Linda in Florida, somebody asked if you if you have any memorabilia from Happy Days. Were you able to have anything, collect anything from, you know, some people get pieces of the set, or there's a mug or a jacket or something.
Yeah, I wish I had more, but you see, when I did the 7th season and we ended that season, I wasn't sure. I knew my contract was coming up, but I hadn't made the decision yet that whether I was going to renew or not. So I wasn't like asking for, you know, any of the memorabilia,
I have that desk or
or that jacket, or, you know, so I didn't have anything. But what I do have, there was one really cool item. I don't know. Oh, I remember. I was walking backstage one day while we were shooting Happy Days, and I don't know what caught my eye, but I saw one of those clapboards. The clapboard they hold up which says what scene you're doing, what take you're doing, and then they clap it so they can sync the sound properly to the picture. And I see one of these clapboards, and I go over to it, and I see that it's during the screen, it was for the screen test of Happy Days. So it had pieces of tape of all the people that were doing screen tests. So Ron Howard's name was on there, and then the other actors, and then my name was on there. So I said, what is this doing here? You know, and this is like 3 years into the show. But I, you know, just slyly took it and didn't think anyone would really miss it. And I have that. So that was a pretty cool piece of memorabilia to have. I don't think I have much else really, you know. I mean, there's great photos and stuff, but I wish I did have another physical piece of the set, or a piece of clothing or something like that.
You did Christmas too, touched upon Christmas. And that's a fantastic one. Do you see more of that in the offing, more Christmas material?
I don't know. Maybe, because this one was a sort of a limited. It wasn't a full CD.
Right.
It only had like five songs on it. So maybe I do have to go back and do a full one. I think it's probably in the offing. I think so.
And of course, this is the other one you talked about, right?
Mostly Swinging. Yeah,
Yeah.
it came out. I love that CD too. Like I said, it's great, great big. The musicians were top notch, and Willie Mario, who produced that and did the arrangements, which are fabulous. And he plays trumpet on it, and he's off the charts good. So I would tell people they definitely should check that out too. Which that's out on all of this, Amazon and iTunes and all the streaming platforms as well.
This is Deedle's bug. Ralph wore a hat in Happy Days. Is that hat in the museum with Fonzie's leather jacket? D from Illinois. Good to see you, D. Thanks for all the
Wow,
questions, everybody.
that's great.
Yeah.
Maybe you've put the word out in the universe, and I don't think it's in the Smithsonian like Henry's jacket, but maybe somebody will get an idea now. That would be nice.
Exactly right. Is there anything you haven't done yet? Because like you and I were chatting before we went live on air, you've dipped into so many aspects of our industry: television, film, stage, producing, acting, directing, writing, all of it really, singing, performing, entertaining. Is there any other area that you're still looking at? Gee, it would be kind of cool to investigate that.
Not really. I don't think so. I mean, I'd like to do more of, the big three right now is the acting, singing, and directing. So those are the things that I'm going to be pursuing the most. I don't think there's anything else, but you never know. I might surprise myself. But right now, I'm dead set on doing more of those, the big three in my head.
Joseph Lawson, good to welcome you to the show as well. Hey, Don, don't forget you did a cartoon. Was it Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes.
Yeah, you remember that well. Thanks, Joseph.
Yeah, and I get a lot of wonderful, response, feedback about people especially when I go and do some personal appearances at fan shows, autograph shows, and so many people will bring up Dungeons and Dragons to me, and I didn't realize the following that show had, and to this day, it still seems to be like a real cult thing. So I had a great time doing doing the voice on that show with some other very talented people.
Is that something you'd like to do more of? I know a lot of people do delve into voiceover work and animated video games, narrations, things of that nature.
I enjoyed it, and I did a few others. I could see doing more voice work. If it was the right project, I could see doing it. But I'd have to really be into the project itself and the people who are doing it. That I felt good about. But I could do some more.
I know you're very humble about it, but a lot of people have always said, and people are very excited that you were making a return visit on the Jim Masters Show live series, and I'm honored that you're here as well. And congratulations on everything going on personally and professionally, all well earned, well deserved. You've always been one of the good guys who just, stuck in and did what you had to do, and in a way that, we talk about the Cindy Williams and some of the other people, Carol Burnett, Florence Henderson, these other people who, when you have a chance to chat with them, match what you hope. And you've always been one of those as well, Donny, where when people meet you, they're so happy to, because they're like, wow, he's such a nice guy and he's funny, he's entertaining. I know you're humble about it. How does it make you feel when people do come up to you and they remember certain things about the career, whether it's musically or acting, and they express to you how much what you've delivered and entertaining and inspiring them has really, made them feel so good about their lives as well?
Yeah, it's quite an experience. And Anson and I have talked about it. And what really epitomizes what you're saying, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but people will come up to us and tell us how important the show was to them to help them get through a tough period. So many people have come up to me and say, you know, I was going through a really rough thing after a family member died, or an illness, or trouble at home, and they said that show was like, it really kept them, you know, kept them afloat and kept them. It was something they could feel good about and escape what all the other things they were going through. And, you know, it was like, wow, you know, we would never know that the show had that kind of impact. And similar to what you're saying, that even if it wasn't, say, maybe getting through a traumatic time, but that it just influenced them, or helped them, or made them feel good, and inspired them, like you said. So I'm very grateful and humbled when I hear that. It's not something that, you know, we were aware of when we were shooting those episodes, that it would have that broad reaching and so many different levels of how it affected people. It's pretty it's great to feel, but it's a little hard to even comprehend it sometimes.
Well, Kathleen, in New York City, your old stomping grounds, I've always been a fan of yours. And thank you, Kathleen, for that wonderful comment. And Jen Barry in Pennsylvania says, Don,
thank you.
You were one of my crushes growing up. You made me smile. Thank you. Respect you. Love you. Jen in Pennsylvania.
Oh, thanks, Jen. Thank you so much.
It's cool to hear that. It really, really is. And, you know, I wish you nothing but all the very best. And you're always welcome back here to stop by the Jim Masters show, my friend. These conversations, you're a great conversationalist, and it's so flowing, and you're so giving and authentic and real. And I think people get that. They get that in your work and television and in film. They get that when you're on stage. They get that from your music. And again, I'm honored to have you here, and I wish you nothing. Congratulations, you know, with the new child in your life, the grandchild. That's a real sweet spot. That's a very beautiful thing. And also congratulations on New York High. That's
thank you.
I know it's hot off the presses. And what do you hope people get from it when they listen to it, Don? What do you hope they're left with?
Yeah, first of all, that you'll just feel good.
Yeah,
because it has the swing kind of feel to it, so it's very infectious, and you'll just feel good. And then you know, just honoring New York. A lot of people will relate to it, and for people who might want to visit it, you know, who don't know it. So I hope it affects people in all of those ways.
that is beautiful. Well, I hope you enjoyed the time with me on the show, coming back and celebrating the new music, and again, right on the cusp of your grandchild and all these wonderful things happening in your life. And again, we'll keep the porch light on for you, and I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you once again, Don.
Oh, absolutely, Jim. It was great talking with you, and appreciate all of the thoughtful questions and homework you did to make it as good as it was. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. And my father, who also grew up in New York, in Astoria, Irish dad, something that I have shared with this show and many years before. You know how dads and granddads, maybe uncles, give you this sage advice when you're a kid, and sometimes it's almost adult-like advice. I don't know if I mentioned this to you previously, but he said to me, and it still holds true today, like I was 7 or 8 years old, and he said, he goes, Jimmy, anytime anybody says something nice or kind to you, ask them to please put it in writing and address it management.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Quite a New York thing to say, right?
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
it. Witty guy, Dad. Don, you're the best. Again, thank you so much for stopping by the show. Just want to show you a couple of things. Jen says, Don, you're a lovety. Jim Master Show, lovety. Love you. Maureen in Arizona, you're amazing, Don. Thank you so much for coming back to Lovety Hall. I said the show has a lot of light, love, and levity. I said that, during the pandemic. And then I slipped up and I said the word lovety. So they said, this is Lovety Hall. I'm Mr. Lovety. The guests are loveties. And that's where that all came from. Can't wait for New York High. She's going to get the song. And that's really fantastic. And Merlin in Ontario, Canada. Don, you take care of that little baby girl.
Yes, indeed.
Really nice.
Thank you.
And love from Renee watching in Iowa and everybody watching all around the world. We thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Don Most, once again, an honor and a pleasure. We'll chat again soon. You're welcome back anytime. And thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Jim. It was a real pleasure. And thanks for having me. And we'll do it again. For sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Congratulations. And I hope to see you soon in person one of these days. It would be a pleasure.
I hope so.
You be well.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye now. Don Most here on the Jim Masters Show and live entertainment lifestyle celebrity talk show series. He really is a terrific guy. And we love having him here. This is his return visit on JMS. And what a great conversation, updating us on lots of new, fresh things about his life. Yes, his grandchild. How cool is that? And that was he just told me that, what, about 2 minutes before we went live on the air? And I said, oh, well, we'll have to mention that on the air because that's such a beautiful thing. And they're in Colorado now. He's made his home, which is closer to his this family, his daughter and all. I think that's a beautiful thing. And he's making his music. And how cool is that, right? He's out there doing his thing. He's got that new single, New York High. Again, he's born and raised in New York. He's a Brooklyn boy. And then, of course, went out to LA and made his mark in television and film on Happy Days, Star Trek, all these films, all this, tons of commercials and so much more. And lots of commercials, actually, too, when he was a kid. And for Schick razors and so much more. But if you didn't know, if you have been a fan of his for many years through the television series Happy Days, but also playing Ralph Malph, of course, that iconic character, but all the other things that he's done in his career beyond the beloved series Happy Days. And we love looking back at, you guys know I work in television and radio, and I have for years. So I love everything that we talk about on our series, but I especially love when we talk about things, television and movies and film, working in that industry. I'm so plugged into that, and music as well. So to celebrate, Don in this way and his iconic career is fantastic. And again, all the other things that he's done, keep a watch out. He's got a new movie that he just finished filming, which I think is really exciting. The new music is out. You can get his other music as well, as he mentioned, Spotify and iTunes and Amazon and all the rest. And he mentioned Tony Mantor, who's a great friend of our show. He was with us recently as well. And there he is on top of the world, Donny Most, having a New York High. What a I just love that. There's the view, Empire State Building. Just really cool. Here's some of the other music we talked about, mostly swinging and the Christmas. He really is having the time of his life. And he's just such a good guy. He's a great friend of the Jim Masters Show Live series. As I mentioned, this is his second visit with us here. When we had the opportunity to have him here on the show, we jumped at it. He jumped at it. We put it all together, and here it is. This is, again, such an iconic photo way back. There's Garry Marshall, Penny Marshall's brother. Of course, we lost Penny Marshall as well. Hey, if you didn't see the episode of our series where Marion Ross, who played Mrs. Cunningham, Mrs. C, on Happy Days, was a guest live from the Happy Days Ranch, as she called it, and her son, the iconic impressionist, Jim Meskimen, was on with us as well. We had such a fun time. She actually invited me to her ranch. Got to get out there and go see Mrs. C, the iconic Marion Ross, who, of course, Donnie worked with on Happy Days, was a beloved and fabulous guest on our show. And there she is, Mrs. C. She was a guest on our show. Anson Williams, of course, who played Potsy, was a guest on the Jim Masters show. We'd love to have him back, too. Hopefully we'll get him back soon to update us on things. He's been so busy, too. He just celebrated a birthday. He's a September baby, I believe, just like I am. Mine was last week. But it's so cool to know that Don and Anson are good friends. They stay in touch. He stays in touch with Ron Howard, Henry Winkler. Boy, would love to get Henry Winkler on the show, too. That would be so terrific. I've always been a fan of his work. Everybody. Marion Ross again. Of course, Erin is no longer with us. Tom Bosley is no longer with us. God bless them. But Marion Ross was with us. Check that episode out on our channel. If you love the child stars, the TV shows, the memories from television and movies, check out some of our episodes. We've had some iconic people on our show. Kathy Garver, Rodney Allen Rippey, a lot of people from your childhood. We did a whole celebration celebrating Bob Barker, who we lost recently from The Price is Right. We had Wink Martindale, legendary game show host, who joined us, and many others. And we've done a special on Cindy Williams, a really beautiful special. Tracy Reiner, Penny Marshall's daughter, was with us, and many others. Check that episode out. We've done specials celebrating Tina Turner's life. We did a special on Carol Burnett. And our buddy Chris Corman, Harvey Corman's son, was with us as well for that. He's a big supporter and a fan of the Jim Masters Show Live series. We love Chris, and he's going to be back with us real soon as well. We've had episodes where Tim Conway's daughter, Kellyanne Conway, she was with us as well, and it was phenomenal. You can see all these episodes, some of your favorites from music and Hollywood, television, film, stage, comedy, the arts, sports, culinary arts, food. We talk a lot about food. We've had chefs on. We've got many more coming up in the offing. We have celebrity friends, people I've interviewed over the years on television have come by. Those who love the Irish music. We've had just about all of Celtic Thunder here and Celtic Woman with us, and many other artists. Just, it's incredible. And I'm having a lot of fun. And we're just a couple of shows away from 1,000 episodes in 3.5 years. That's unbelievable. Gang, let's take a look at a couple of more comments. I believe, Kathleen Walker, we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge this. Thank you very much, Kathleen, for this beautiful, beautiful. We love this, Kathleen. So great to have you back here. Don, love listening to you. And thanks for coming back to see your fellow lovedies. Thanks, Jim, for having Don back. And she did a wonderful Irish green super chat. That is so cool. Thank you for your generosity and your support of the Jim Masters Show Live series. Again, it was really cool having Don here. We loved having him here. Did you guys enjoy it? Certainly let us know. Be sure and let us know. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel. Give this episode a like. Yes, there's a like button on the YouTube channel. Click the thumbs up, like, interact with us. Drop a comment on the actual channel. Even if you left one in the Lovety Hall chat room, leave a comment. Let us know what you enjoyed about this episode of our show. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. We love when you do that. And thanks to everybody who has done that. When you subscribe to our YouTube channel, it lets us know that you're enjoying all this content, all these hours of great guests and great entertainment and so much more. Guests like Don Most. So this was fantastic, folks. We have so many more guests, so many more celebrity friends, and lots of surprises coming up for all of you here on the Jim Masters Show Live. So like, comment, subscribe. Those who have done that, your subscribers already, thanks so much. We really appreciate that. And we welcome all to join us as we continue to do what we do so well, and let's give you lots of good entertainment, lots of laughs, and so much more. Again, thanks to everybody who sent cards and gifts and letters and all kinds of messages regarding the birthday, which was last Sunday. I really, really appreciate you guys for doing that. So kind of you. We had lots of goodies sent our way, beautiful cards, handwritten, and phenomenally beautiful messages. And I thank each and every one of you who have done that. That means the world to me and us here at the Jim Masters Show. All right. Dee Dee says, this was an awesome conversation, Jim. Do you think you could get Henry to come on soon? We would love to have Henry with us, Henry Winkler. His biography memoir comes out Halloween this year. Definitely buying that one. That would be very, very cool to have him here on the show. Absolutely. And again, we thank Don Most for joining us. Donnie was he's always a great guest. We love having him here. If you joined our show late, you can see this episode again in its entirety, archived on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Dee Dee, thanks for that great comment. And everybody who commented, Maureen says it's hard to pick a favorite JMS live episode. They're also fantastic. Maureen watching there in beautiful Arizona. Kathleen says all of your tribute shows were wonderful and beautifully done. Thank you very much. Tributes to Carol Burnett, tributes to Ronnie Spector, of course, from the Ronettes. If you didn't see that tribute, I knew her personally. She was a dear family friend. So we did a special tribute when she had passed. And Cindy Williams and Tina Turner. And of course, you know, we have a wonderful episode we did with both Anita Pointer and Ruth Pointer of the Pointer Sisters. And Anita is no longer with us. And that was one of her last conversations, interviews ever, was with us here on the show. So it was a blessing and an honor. We had so much fun with Anita Pointer and Ruth Pointer. If you didn't see that episode, it's on our YouTube channel as well. Stanley Livingston, Barry Livingston from My Three Sons, Tina Cole from My Three Sons. She was just on with us recently. Did you see the episode with Ryan Cassidy? Yes, incredible Ryan Cassidy, son of Shirley Jones, Jack Cassidy, brother to Sean Cassidy, David Cassidy. He was with us recently as well. Did you see the episode when we had Kathy Coleman and Wesley Yore from Land of the Lost, the iconic kids series on Saturday mornings? They were with us. So many incredible guests and more to come. And if you know folks you think would like to pop on our show as a guest, we always roll out the red carpet for our guests. We always honor and respect them and have a good time with them as well, as we have conversations and some really terrific nuggets that develop through the conversations as well. So spread the word about our show. Let everybody know that we exist. And if you know folks you would like to see right here on JMS, certainly let them know, let us know, and we might be able to welcome them here on the show. Thanks for all the support, those doing Super Chat, Super Emoji, Super Sticker in the actual JMS Levity Hall chat room. But do, again, if you get a moment, leave a comment on our YouTube channel in the comments section. Give us a like and help us continue to grow. We welcome everybody who's brand new, who's watching our show. If this is your first time, come back and see us. We love having you here. You're now part of the JMS family. Christine Clifton, who's been with us a long time, says, Jim, it was wonderful having Don back on JMS. He is so talented and kind, so very entertaining in all his work. He has an incredible voice. He certainly does. Wishing him well in everything. Fun show. Thanks, Jim. The pleasure is mine. Crystal Nolan, thanks for joining us watching in Connecticut. Thank you, Jim. Another amazing show. Thank you. And I know you shared the links too. We really appreciate that. For those of you who share the link from our YouTube channel on your social media, share it onto your social media and spread the word about our episodes and our shows. And several of you do that, and we thank you for doing that. Keep doing it. Feel free. Crystal does that, and we thank you as well. Share the links. If you love what we do, don't keep it a secret. Let everybody know. Jane says, thank you so much for being back with us. Don, thanks, Jim. Have Don back. Maybe he can sing for us. Yes, as well. That would be fantastic. And yeah, you guys are great. Jen Barry, thank you very much for being here. Some of our regulars as well, and a lot of new people here on the show, and we appreciate it. Pam Stubbs watching from Maryland. Good to see you as well, Pam, and Kathleen in New York, and everybody watching from around the world. And if you're watching this in the archives later on, leave a comment for us as well. We thank you. Kathleen says, fantastic show, Jim. Thank you. Thank you for watching and for being a part of it. We love having you here. You are watching the Jim Masters Show live series, bringing back the Lost Art of Conversation. We thank you for making us a part of your day today. And don't go anywhere because there's a lot more episodes coming up. And if you're not watching this live, you're watching this later on in the archives. Hey, guess what? Another great episode comes up. So stay right here on the YouTube channel. Another episode comes up. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show live. Lots of surprises coming your way. Sending lots of levity out to all of our faithful viewers who've been with us, tried and true since the very beginning, and then others who've stopped by and hopped on. We've come a long way with this show since day one, and tweaked here and there and done a lot of different things and spent a lot of dough and to try to give you the best product possible. And we really hope you enjoy it. Certainly let us know, and we appreciate that as well. Much more to come for all of you. So again, thanks for all the interactivity and all the great comments and all the levity. And we send the levity right back to you here on the Jim Masters Show live series. All right, gang, that's a wrap for this episode. Love having you here. Be well, take care of one another, love one another, be good to one another, and don't forget to be good to yourself. Take time for yourself as well. We're always running around, doing for everybody. And make sure you take time for you as well. And stop by, come see us again. We'd love to have you here. And if this was your first time, welcome to JMS. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show. We thank Don Most for joining us. Go check out his music and go catch some of his music. Check it out online. It's all available online, iTunes, Spotify, all the rest. And he's on a New York high. It's a great title for that single, isn't it? We appreciate it. We don't say goodbye around here. We say, see you later. So with that, we're going to say, see you later. We're going to step out, and we love you all. Thanks for being with us. Cheers.